So for our third and final talk tonight, we're going to go through navigating the Virgo cluster. And I have some really bad news for everybody. If you want to get through the Messier catalog, you're going to have to spend the night with Virgo. Just going to go ahead and get that out there right now. So this is where your quest to get through the Messier catalog is either going to make or break you. And that's why anybody who tells me that they've gotten through all 110, I'm a little skeptical. Because if you get into the Virgo cluster, it's very easy. There's thousands of galaxies in the Virgo cluster, and it's very easy to misinterpret one little fuzzy patch for another. And I know what you're thinking. Those of you who got binoculars, it's very simple, right? I'll just get it in the wide field of view. I'll put them all in there, and I can knock them all out in one fell swoop, right? I got 16 Messiers for the price of one. I got them all, right? That's called cheating. Okay? The purpose of going through the Messier catalog is to clearly identify each individual object and to be able to distinguish and catalog specifically which objects you're seeing and what it looks like and what its characteristics are. That's why we have the logbook, so that you can make notes about your observations. So just a quick review here. Talked about the Andromeda Galaxy. And of course, our solar system is part of the Milky Way galaxy. The Milky Way and the Andromeda Galaxy are the two largest spiral galaxies in a group of galaxies called the local group. There's about 54 galaxies in the local group. Distance is about 10 million light years across. Most of the galaxies are smaller dwarf galaxies, but galaxies don't like to travel through the universe alone. They cluster together. So our Milky Way and Andromeda are part of a group of about 54 galaxies, along with Triangulum and a bunch of dwarf galaxies, rather unimaginatively called the local group. Now, the local group is part of a larger supercluster of galaxies called the Virgo supercluster. And this is what the Virgo supercluster essentially looks like. So the local galactic group would be here, and then you've got some other objects like M101, and then you have the Virgo supercluster, or the Virgo cluster rather, right here. So the Virgo cluster, our local group, and then M101, M81, among other things, and the Fornax cluster are part of the Virgo supercluster, or our local supercluster of galaxies. So when we're looking into the Virgo cluster, we're literally looking outside of our local group of galaxies and into another cluster of galaxies. So we're looking into an entire cluster of galaxies, which is quite remarkable if you think about it. We're not only looking outside of our galaxy, we're looking outside of our local group of galaxies into another group of galaxies. And gravitationally, the Virgo cluster is pulling our local group in. So in billions of years, our local group of galaxies is going to fall into the Virgo cluster. Everything in the universe is sort of laid out, and gravity sort of dominates the universe. It ultimately wins. So it will be, yeah, exactly. Problem is there's dark energy which pushing everything away. The universe is accelerating in its rate of expansion. So in about 100 billion years, our view of the universe will basically be the Virgo cluster. But that's a topic for another time. So here's kind of where the Virgo cluster falls in terms of the constellation map. If you can find the Big Dipper, you can find the constellation Leo. And of course, this is the crouching lion. And then the Virgo cluster is right here off of the tail of Leo the lion. And then, of course, here's the constellation Virgo, and then Coma Berenices. And, of course, this is Arcturus. So it sits right here in this well, right off of the tail of Leo the lion. So in terms of Messier objects, there are 16 Messiers among the thousands of galaxies in the Virgo cluster. And all different types. Some of these are spiral galaxies, some of these are lenticular or lens-shaped galaxies, some of these are elliptical, some of these are barred spirals. So you get quite a variety. The problem is they all look the same through either binoculars or a telescope. They look like little fuzzy patches. So distinguishing one from another can be a little bit of a challenge. This is the star chart that I like to use, and I'm going to walk you through for this presentation. Of course, you can get this from Sky and Telescope. It's their Pocket Atlas. I don't know why they call it a jumbo size, because it's about this big, so you can't exactly stick it in your pocket. But it's a very detailed chart, and you can see here again, if we go back, here's Denebola off of the tail of Leo the lion, and that's where this chart starts, right here. So our journey into the Virgo cluster is going to begin off of the tail of Leo the lion. If you go straight across, you can find this star right here, 6Com. It stands for 6 Coma Berenices, or short for 6Com. Barely visible to the naked eye. I can't quite see it. Some of you might be able to see it under really dark sky conditions, but it's very dim but bright enough to be seen with naked eye. And that's where our journey into the Virgo cluster is going to begin. Now, if I draw a line off of 6Com in two different directions, I form what's called an arrowhead. All right, both south and north. And here I can knock out 3 Messiers pretty quickly. If I zoom in, this is kind of what it looks like. Here's 6Com right here. Now, off of 6Com is the edge-on spiral M98. In my telescope, I can find M98 pretty easily. Binoculars, it might be a little bit of a challenge. But there's your first Messier in the Virgo cluster, M98. It's very clearly an edge-on spiral. If I draw a line through these two stars right here, I can find M99, which is a face-on spiral, pretty easily also. Even more easy to spot is M100. And if I go the other way up the line of these two stars, which are very easy to find, that will take me right to M100. It's a very bright smudge, face-on spiral, pretty easy to find. So I've just given you 3 of the 16 Messiers in the Virgo cluster. So that's kind of step number 1. Now, off of M100, I can build a diamond shape right here off of these 4 stars, and it's pretty easy to spot up to this very, very bright star up here. And that will take me to M85, which is right next door to another galaxy. It's an NGC. It's NGC 4394. If I zoom in, it kind of looks a little bit like this. You'll see 2 fuzzy patches next to each other, M85 being the brighter lenticular galaxy, and then the fainter barred spiral is actually NGC 4394. So again, here's where you distinguish one galaxy from another. The brighter ones, usually when you're looking at galaxies, the brighter ones are going to be the Messiers. So the brighter one here is M85. So now that's number 4 up here. Now, the heart of the Virgo cluster, I go the other way, right here, right off of this little arrowhead. There's a very distinct feature in the Virgo cluster. If I zoom in right here, I can find M86 and M84, and I've actually seen this in the eyepiece of my telescope pretty easily. It's the heart of the Virgo cluster. I like to call it the face. To me, this looks like a face. You got 2 eyes right here, you got a nose right here, you got a mouth right here, and you got an eyebrow up here. So it's a face with 1 eyebrow. All right? Now, M86 and M84 are very bright, fuzzy smudges. You can usually find them pretty quickly. So this feature right here is one to kind of plug into your mind as far as what to look for in the heart of the Virgo cluster. Here's where a lot of action occurs. And then, of course, off of the face are these other 2 galaxies. In the star charts, they're called the eyes, but they don't have a face. So I think of that Billy Idol song, Eyes Without a Face, right? So that's here, NGC 4438 and 4435. And really, I use these just as mile marker or just as markers to kind of orient myself. Like, yes, this in fact is what I'm looking at. I can confidently say in my logbook that I've seen M86 and M84 because I've seen the face and I've seen this and I've seen that. Now, if I go out just a little bit further from the face, and this is a little bit of a leap, but if I go this way, I can find M87. Pretty easy to spot also. Say easy to spot, I mean, you'll know when you find it. It's a bright galaxy, 10 million solar mass black hole at its center. To give you an idea, it's got about 12,000 globular clusters in its halo compared to our Milky Way, which has about 200. So it's a pretty exciting galaxy. But if you, again, you're going to stretch to get here, but in binoculars, it should be pretty easy to spot. Now you have M87 along with M86 and M84 off of the face as I'm moving through the Virgo cluster. Again, I'm kind of right in the center of the cluster. So now I've kind of started to move into this section right here, and I'm distinguishing between the Messiers and the NGC objects. Now, getting back to our arrowhead, if you star hop, again, 6Com is the home star. When in doubt, if you get lost, go back to 6Com and start over. That's what I do. And I've had several evenings where I've done this. Get lost, boom, go back to 6Com, start from there. So I've got 3 paths off of 6Com. And I can star hop my way along several of these stars. And that forms what's called the shaft. Now, if I go along the shaft here, I should be able to find M91 and M88. These are a little bit more challenging because they're a little bit fainter, and it's very easy to get lost again and confuse these for some of these other ones. But you should be able to find some of these stars close to M91 and M88 as, again, guides to sort of orient you that that's what I'm looking for. And when I get toward the bottom of this shaft, that's when I get to another edge-on spiral, which is M90 right here. And again, I should be able to find that right off of the bottom of the shaft. Here's another distinct feature to look for. It's basically a small little family of stars that are clustered together. So if I drop down from there to this star, then I should be able to find M90. So that's another Messier. From there, I can draw a line from this star, and I'm back to M87, which is where I was before. And along that line, I can drop down and find M89. The other thing I can do is star hop my way down here and draw a line. This is sometimes known as the V. There's kind of a double V pattern here at the bottom of the shaft. So this V pattern right here will enable me to find 90, 89, get back to 87, and then also M58. Now, M58 can be a challenging target for binoculars. And you can see the author of this particular article, who actually advocates the use of binoculars in navigating the Virgo cluster, had some hard times with M58. It's kind of a face-on, it's kind of a weird spiral galaxy, but you should be able to see it next to this star, HD 109 771. And it's just a matter of being able to train your eye to tell the difference between looking at a star versus looking at a galaxy. So right there, M58, and then that star right there, HD 109 771 at the bottom of the shaft. So now I picked up a handful of Messiers just inside of the Virgo cluster by following this particular pattern. All right, now, this star is pretty easy to identify. It's pretty bright. If I can find this star right here, and this is actually toward the bottom of the Virgo cluster, if I draw a line down from here to this bright star here, again, you got to kind of star hop your way down. You're going to see an NGC here, 2 NGC galaxies, but I should be able to find M49 while drawing this arrowhead down right at the bottom here. And then I form what's called an L pattern. Boom, bright star, bright star. So if I go bright star, star hop my way down, another bright star, in between these 2 bright stars here, I now have M49. And that, again, is another lenticular type galaxy, but a very distinct fuzzy patch. When you're out observing, you sort of train your eye to be able to tell the difference between looking at a star versus a galaxy. I don't know if it's a star or if it's a galaxy. Galaxies just have this distinct fuzzy smudge to them that stars don't have. So, and it is kind of exciting to look at that and think, oh yeah, that is a galaxy. I found a galaxy. It can be very satisfying. So that's M49. Again, kind of a challenging target. But you see, you have this bright star here and this bright star here. If you draw a line between these 2 stars here, you should be able to find the rho star here. And from there, you can go down to find M49. You can also work your way up into this chain of galaxies here. From here, notice, if you go up diagonally from these 2 stars, if these 2 stars are in a row, you draw a line that should be able to take me right back to M58. So that's another way to get into the Virgo cluster. And then, of course, down here, it's not on this star chart, but this is how you get to M61. So, but this is kind of the pattern that I follow when navigating the Virgo cluster. It's a little bit of guesswork and a little bit of, kind of a strategy. All anchored off of either 6Com here or Vinita matrix over here. So, and again, a very distinct feature is the face inside of the heart of the Virgo cluster. So looking at a star view here, I got two images superimposed on each other. Here's 6Com right here. Let's go ahead and map this out. So, draw a line between these two stars right here. That's going to take me to M84. Here's the face. Eye number 1, M86. Eye number 2, M84. Nose, mouth, eyebrow. I've got my 2 Messiers there. If I go the other way, I draw a line up, and that's going to take me through these 2 bright stars here on up to M100, bright face-on spiral. And then, of course, I can start drawing my diamond. I can only show you part of the diamond in this diagram, but that diamond is going to take me on to M85 right there. Come over here. There's the face. And then, of course, you see M87 right there. From here, it's a little bit of a leap, but if you can get to here, you'll know it when you find M87. And then you find the star just above it, draw a line on up to these 2 bright stars here, up here, this bright star right there. Now I've got M90, I've got M89, and then this is just part of the shaft that takes me around. And of course it goes off of the screen here, but there's M91, and then there's M88. So kind of a pattern to follow when getting around the Virgo cluster. And what does it look like? Again, here's the pattern from the star chart. Start with Leo, hit 6Com, draw the arrowhead here, grab M84, M86. Immediately I can find M99, M98, and then on up to M85, M100. And then this is just going to be a challenge, quite frankly. If you're going to get lost trying to get all 110 Messiers, it's probably going to be right in here. But M87, which is right in the center of the cluster, should be fairly easy to spot with either binoculars or telescope because it is a bright galaxy. So that's basically it. And this is, again, a short presentation just to kind of wrap up the evening. This is a good resource to download for navigating the Virgo cluster. Here's the guide right here. I actually have a PDF of this. I sent it out with the email that went out today. Anybody who's interested in having this, be happy to send it out. Just let me know. Give me your email address. And here's the website. And it actually gives you 2 or 3 different strategies for navigating the Virgo cluster, different approaches. But that's essentially the strategy that I follow and the pattern that I follow to try and get through all 16 of the Messier objects in the Virgo cluster. So again, this is going to be a challenge, guys, whether we do it on the 10th or we do it on the 17th. I can tell you right now, M74, the first one on the list, that ain't happening with binoculars. And it may not happen with a telescope. It's a very faint Messier object. It's on the horizon. There's going to be a lot of light pollution. So I don't think anybody's going to get all 110. But just the act of getting out, being out all night and working through the catalog and doing this for the first time, and hopefully this becomes an annual event, is going to be kind of exciting. And I'll say one other thing as we wrap up the evening. I think what could really make this event exciting is if it's a team effort. Everybody has a little bit different approach. You heard 3 different kind of philosophies on observing. Brian, binoculars. Rick, he likes to use technology. I don't like technology. I just have the straight telescope. It's a Dob. I like bigger. Bigger is better for me because I like to go after deep sky objects and I try to find everything by hand. What's exciting is when you get everybody together. You got a binocular station over here. You got a Dob over here. Maybe you got a scope with a Go2 Pro over here, and then it's kind of like a smorgasbord. You can just go around and sample different objects. And I've had observing sessions also with Brian, where he'll have one object in the binoculars and I'll have it in the Dob, and you can see 2 different views. M2 is a good example. Globular in Aquarius. It looks very different in his binoculars than it does in my Dobsonian. So it's really a unique opportunity for you to sample a lot of different scopes and a lot of different views, and then also go through the Messier catalog and just check them off. So thanks again, guys, for coming out, and that wraps up our evening.